One question floating in your head. Do cheap graphics cards still suck?
On this side of the table, we have an MSI RX550 low profile OC, and on this side, we have the EVGA GT1030 low profile. And I would go over numbers here in my head, but we got all the numbers on the test bench, so why don't we just bring it on over there? I'll show you some specs, and I'll show you some benchmarks. So the RX550 that we have from MSI came with an overclock already, but we decided to push it as far as we can. Same with the 1030. So we went with an 11% overclock on the RX550 up to 1334 megahertz, and on the memory we went to 1870. On the GT1030 we put a 13% overclock, or up to 1459 and 1712. And then our memory core speed was 1666. So we ran Witcher 3, Doom, Shadow of Mordor, and Deus Ex. We ran Deus Ex in DirectX 12 mode, Doom, OpenGL, no Vulkan. Sorry guys, but we're just not doing Vulkan testing these days. We will do that eventually, we'll get around to it, maybe when Vega comes out, if Vega comes out. Tested on our test bench here, which is our 1800X at 4.1 gigahertz, an AX370 Gaming 5 from Aorus, or Gigabyte, whoever you want to call them. Our Corsair Dominator Platinum, 16 gigs of it at 2666. Looking pretty in chrome over there. Two cards, the MSI RX550 and the EVGA GT1030. Ignore the 7770 here, this is coming up soon. So, starting off, Witcher 3. We ran 1080p Ultra on both cards, with the RX550 getting 20 FPS average, or 18 FPS 1% lows, and 49 milliseconds frame time. And the 1030 got a 16 FPS average, 14 FPS 1% low, and then 62 milliseconds frame time. So we're already seeing the RX550 kind of kicking ahead, and we'll continue to see that. And so we're gonna breeze through the rest of these. 1080p medium, 32, 27, 31. With the GT1030, we got 28, 24, and 36. 1440p low, we did want to see if these cards could run 1440p, so we kind of pushed low and just to see if the cards would do it. A couple of these games ran pretty well in low, so we'll see that. So 1440p low Witcher 3, RX550, 26, 25, 38, and for the GT1030, 26, 24, and 38. So pretty even there. When you start kicking up the resolution, they start to even out a little bit. But 1080p medium and 1440p low kind of give the same stress level, so we'll start to see things kind of flip-flop here. Moving on, Shadow of Mordor, starting with the RX550 again. Our 1080p Ultra, 23, 17, and 44. With the GT1030, 20, 15, and 51. Moving on to 1080p medium, 54, 40, and 19. On the GT1030, 40, 30, and 25. And on to 1440p low, RX550, 54, 40, and 18. And with the GT1030, 40, 31, and 25. So again, seeing that the GT1030 is kind of falling a little bit behind the RX550. And we'll continue to see that as we move on to Deus Ex Mankind Divided, running at DirectX 12. This game we can't get frame times on. I cannot get it to run any program to measure the frame times because of the way that DirectX 12 runs. So we're just gonna have to skip over that for the next few. So RX550, 1080p Ultra, 15 and 9, no frame time rating. GT1030, 4 and 1. Okay, so we had some problems here. At 1080p Ultra, I'm assuming that we ran out of memory. Now, it wasn't a problem on the RX550, but the GT1030, I ran this test 4 or 5 times in 4 or 5 different restarts of Windows, different, modulating the drivers a little bit just to see what would happen, but it would not go over 1 or 2 FPS in the test. The other resolutions didn't have a problem, but 1080p Ultra, I'm assuming the anti-aliasing was just screwing with it. So we knocked the settings down, 1080p medium, starting with the RX550, 29 and 21, and then with the GT1030, 24 and 19. So now it's given us some good scores. That's much more reasonable. 1440p low, 23, and our 1% low rating didn't show up for the RX550. 1440p low on the GT1030, 19 and 15. And now our final test, Doom, running OpenGL, 1080p Ultra, starting with the RX550, 19, 12, and 52. And with the GT1030, 34, 26, and 30. 1080p medium, 23, 14, and 44. And with the GT1030, 46, 39, and 22. Almost 2 times faster. In fact, exactly 2 times faster for that matter.
What I assume is going on here is that the Pascal architecture is more suited for OpenGL tasks than Polaris is, and since this is such a huge cut down of Polaris as a whole chip, I mean, it's 1/4 of an RX470 or a 570. There's not a whole lot of hardware there to really give it a nice boost in OpenGL, but DirectX, it's pretty much built for that. 1440p low, RX550 is getting 20, 13, and 51, and then our GT1030, 33, 28, and 31. Almost all of these games are completely unplayable. Shadow of Mordor is really playable if you start doctoring some settings. Doom is almost playable if you start doctoring some settings. If you want to play at 720p, all these games are playable at the right settings. But realistically, it's 2017. Who's playing games at 720p? Unless you have some crap book, HP old laptop or something like that, and you just have to get it running on integrated graphics. These are dedicated cards. They should be doing better than this, and at $85 price point, I can guarantee that I can find you a card that will play these games better, and it might even be an older card.
Okay, look guys, these cards are $85 each. They're both the same price, and realistically, if you're looking at buying these cards, unless you have a space constraint with an ITX system or some low profile system, and you have a money constraint and can't buy a GTX 1050 or 1050 Ti low profile, these cards aren't for you, man. Okay, look, here's the deal. You can pick up a just as good card from the past, an older card. Might use more power, might run a little hotter, might even be a little more obnoxious with a loud fan, but you can pick up an older card with more performance that'll play all of those games just as well or better for half as much, sometimes even less. And if you want to stick around, we're covering that next. We're going to have some more cards in to come up against these guys right here, and we'll just see. Can you get an older card that can beat these? Are these really that crappy? Alright, hope you liked the video. Check out our store. We're on Discord. We're on the forums. Come say hi. Check out another video. I'm gone.
The cops! Run!
They're coming for us, man!